As the entire media landscape evolves, will NASCAR fans have to pay to watch Cup Series races after 2024? NBC says it's a possibility. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. It's Show and Tell Tuesday edition. I have a stack of mail to go through here at the end of this episode. I really appreciate you guys contributing to the show. As I've been saying for a few weeks now, that P.O. Box is closing at the end of this month, July, so if you haven't put anything in the mail yet, there's a good chance I won't be receiving it if you do now. So just a fair warning, I really appreciate those of you who have sent things into my P.O. Box. We'll be going through a bunch of it here in just a few minutes, but we have a couple of stories. They're not new stories, they're like a week old, but a few of you guys have sent these to me in the last couple of days, so I figured we should talk about it here this week. The middle of this 2.5 week break, now's a good time to discuss it. Let's begin though with some exciting news. Yesterday, Jordan Anderson Racing announced that Sage Karam, IndyCar Series driver, will race for him and his Xfinity car at the Indianapolis Road Course next month. Remember, this is the NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader weekend. The IndyCar Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series will race at the Indianapolis Road Course on Saturday, August 14th, and then the Cup Series will race Sunday, August 15th. So pretty exciting to see both the Cup Series and the IndyCar Series sharing the same racetrack in the same weekend. I'm gonna be there in person, so I'm excited to see Sage Karam make his NASCAR debut. He's only made one IndyCar start this year. It was the Indianapolis 500, where he finished a very strong 7th, but that blue Chevy Camaro looks really, really sharp. Looking forward to seeing what Sage Karam can do behind the wheel of a stock car. Now, another story that we have not talked about in months at this point, but it's worth bringing up again because there are new reports, new rumors circulating. Remember a few months ago when the Door Bumper Clear podcast talked about a small Chevy team switching to Toyota for 2022? And then to support that, we had some vague quotes from David Wilson from Toyota saying that they were going to make an announcement that would shock the NASCAR world. Then we had a tweet from Corey LaJoie, who granted is not affiliated with Toyota or Richard Petty Motorsports, but he said that he had heard that Richard Petty Motorsports was close to switching to Toyota for next season. All of these vague sources, fair enough, seem to point towards Richard Petty Motorsports, the famous 43, switching to Toyota, joining TRD just in time for the next gen era. Well, it sounds like those hot rumors from a few months ago have cooled off quite a bit. A couple of y'all sent me this. I actually subscribed to The Athletic to read Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi's motorsports coverage, but a few of y'all sent me this from Jordan Bianchi's recent Q&A from last week. Someone asked, rumor of JTG and or Richard Petty switching OEMs, is there something to it or is it just a rumor? And Jordan Bianchi, again, reporter for The Athletic, says that Richard Petty Motorsports and Toyota were having discussions, but those talks have stopped, I've been told. I would expect RPM to continue as a Chevy team in 2022. So it sounds like things have faltered and Richard Petty Motorsports is not going to be changing their operations next season. Now, there have been some other rumors circulating recently that Richard Petty Motorsports may effectively be for sale, kind of the same way Chip Ganassi Racing was. Or I guess Chip Ganassi wasn't for sale, but they ended up selling to Trackhouse at the end of the day. Richard Petty Motorsports technically controls 2 charters. They sort of have teamed up with Rick Ware Racing and have let Rick Ware Racing use one of them, but then the other charter obviously is what the 43 of Eric Jones uses this year. But there have been plenty of rumors on Twitter, Reddit, I'm sure you guys have seen them, that Richard Petty Motorsports is open to selling one or both of those charters. There was a recent interview with Eric Jones that Matt Weaver did, and in it Eric Jones said that he's hopeful he gets to stay with Richard Petty Motorsports, but he's still waiting to see what their plans for 2022 look like. So it sounds like the future of RPM is still very much up in the air. It's a team that's been hanging by a thread for several years. We've talked about on this show, I think losing Bubba Wallace and a lot of the funding he brought to that team last year in the offseason, I think hurt that team immensely. Eric Jones has not had a great season. The team in general has not been very good this season. So could we see Richard Petty Motorsports fizzle away, sell their charters? Will the Richard Petty name continue to run? That all remains to be seen, but those are just some rumors that are out there. Go check out that Matt Weaver article, full interview with Eric Jones from Pensacola recently when he raced down at Five Flags Speedway this past weekend. So a lot of speculation on Richard Petty Motorsports. It feels like every year, every summer, we have this kind of conversation. What's the future of RPM look like? Is it good? Is it usually bad? More of the same in 2021. I don't have a solid prediction. It sounds like if the right bidder comes along, if GMS Racing, if 2311, maybe even Dale Jr., although it sounds like JRM has sort of punted the idea of going cup racing maybe a couple more years down the line. Could another team come along and buy up those charters? We know charters are in very, very high demand, so Petty could get a pretty good return for those two charters if they do in fact end up selling. There's a lot of moving parts. Now the big story a few of you guys tagged me in or sent to me the last couple days, I've seen a lot of people talking about on Twitter especially, is this one from Forbes. So Greg Engel, writing for Forbes, this was about a week ago now, almost a full week ago, he published this article, NASCAR fans might have to pay to watch some races after 2024. Of course, the current multi-billion-dollar TV contracts NASCAR has with both Fox and NBC, those do not expire until after the 2024 season, so that's part of the reason I didn't jump to talk about this story, is because it's still a few years down the line and a lot can change. But part of what inspired this article in particular was last week's news that IndyCar has a new contract with NBC for next season, and it looks a little different. They'll have more races on main NBC network television, but they'll also have at least 2 races streamed exclusively on Peacock. This is IndyCar I'm talking about. They're gonna have at least 2 races next year that you cannot watch unless you pay I think it's like $5 a month currently for the first tier of Peacock Premium. We're starting to see motorsports migrate into the streaming realm. IndyCar, it sounds like, will be the first major American motorsport to dip their toe into streaming with a major network, but NASCAR's new contract, when it's due in a few years, could very well include something similar. Some exclusive races that you can only see on Peacock if NBC continues to invest into motorsports, or on whatever, does Fox have a streaming service? I don't know, Fox Sports Go? Do they have like a paid streaming? I don't even know. Or if CBS buys it and it goes to Paramount or something like that. This whole article talks about the possibility of NASCAR Cup Series races being streamed exclusively on paid services. From that article, NBC Sports executive John Miller said, in regards to NASCAR possibly having some races streamed on Peacock after 2024, that may be down the road. We haven't gotten into that yet because our deal is not up for several more years with them. I would assume and have every reason to think that they will want to be a part of the NBC Sports family that are all existing on Peacock. Now, I think initially a lot of fans are going to react very negatively to the idea that they have to pay an extra $5 a month for another streaming service just to watch NASCAR Cup Series races that are otherwise have typically been on cable or network television. I am generally in favor of it as long as they meet several parameters. And actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we discuss those parameters, just in a high-level sense, people are getting rid of cable. That's a trend that's been going on for 5, 10, 15 years now. It's an undeniable trend. It's more common amongst young people than it is amongst older people, which I'll get to in a second because that does have an effect on NASCAR. But pretty much across the board, people are unsubscribing from cable more and more year to year. So I do think it's wise for NASCAR and its media partners to venture into the streaming space. You know, Formula One has their own streaming service pretty much, F1 TV Pro, that I think in the US costs like $70, $80 a year, and you get, you know, full races commercial free, including practice, qualifying, all commercial free, exclusive content as well. It exists. You know, I think NASCAR needs to begin to go down that same path. And I think this could be the best first step that direction. But it's not without risks, because like I said, young people, according to data, do not have cable subscriptions at nearly the same rates, you know, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s do. In fact, I looked up some data from Statista.com, and this data is from last December 2020, but according to Statista, 52% of adults over the age of 65 in the US still subscribe to cable. So a slight majority. More do have cable than don't, I guess, but it's slim. It's of course come down in recent years. But then, US adults aged 18 to 34, only 37% of them have a cable subscription. So this is a huge risk to NASCAR because while I think in recent years they have made efforts to attract more young fans and create a slightly younger TV audience, NASCAR's core audience is still older than the average major American sports audience. And so knowing that most fans who watch races on TV are older and are therefore more likely to have cable and may not be as willing to unsubscribe from cable, moving races onto streaming services exclusively, especially a paid one that you have to pay an extra $5 a month regardless of if you have cable or not, that could and I think will severely hurt their early streaming viewership. Again, this is all a few years down the line, but that is a massive risk. You know, NASCAR, even today, despite dropping in ratings ratings over the last 20 years, still pulls in 2.5, 3 million viewers a weekend pretty consistently. I don't think a Cup Series race exclusively streamed on Peacock behind that $5 a month paywall will get nearly the same TV ratings. And that has downstream effects on the race teams who sell sponsorship largely based on what kind of TV viewership a race will get. If only like 500,000 people are tuning in to watch a race on Peacock that otherwise might have gotten 2 or 3 million viewers on cable, teams won't be able to sell sponsorship for as high of a price. So that could hurt the teams. It could have negative effects on the business, but I do think it's a risk that is worth exploring. I don't think this is likely, but I don't think the majority of the NASCAR Cup schedule should be streaming exclusive in 2024, 2025, I guess. I don't think, even though it's a few years down the line, things will continue to change. I don't think that's where we're going to be at in 4 years, but I think it's important for NASCAR to dip their toe into streaming in 4 or 5 years, the same way IndyCar is doing next year, just because that's where the media world is heading. That's where things are trending, and I think it's important for NASCAR to at least begin to broach that subject. Now, going back to my parameters, this is what I'm saying. As a viewer at home who, I go to a lot of races, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of races the last couple of years, but I still watch the vast majority of NASCAR races from my couch at home. I have cable, I've subscribed to cable, really only to watch NASCAR. Honestly, I can watch some of my local sports teams, I guess, but mainly to watch NASCAR. That's the number one reason I pay for cable, and cable is expensive. It's more expensive than the $5 a month for Peacock Premium. So my couple of parameters are, one, you can't charge more than $5, $6 a month to watch NASCAR races. I just don't think people would go for it. You got to keep it fairly competitive. The pricing has to be low and competitive. Two, I think if these fans are paying to subscribe and watch these races, there should be far less commercial breaks. I'm not saying it'll be commercial free. It sounds like even next year's IndyCar races will still have some commercials, even the ones on Peacock, but it should have less green flag commercials for sure. And my other third one, it sounds like they're already doing this for IndyCar, but like practice, qualifying, and maybe some exclusive NASCAR commentary shows, things like that, should also be included with that subscription. It sounds like IndyCar, they're going to stream practice and qualifying throughout the season, so if you have Peacock Premium, you'll get all of that content as well, so that's a really good value. They should continue that if NASCAR goes down the same route here in a few years. If we get all of NASCAR practice, all of NASCAR qualifying, and all the NASCAR races available on Peacock for $5, $6 a month, well then dang, I don't have to pay for cable anymore. And that's a huge weight off my shoulders, and I'm sure it'd be a weight off of many of you guys watching shoulders as well. Some people still subscribe to cable because they like shows on cable. There are things that people watch on cable. Cable is still very popular, even though it's declined in recent years. But for a lot of fans, cable only exists in their household to watch live sports. And so if you can move NASCAR away from cable, that just gives a lot of fans one more good reason to cancel their expensive cable subscription and instead go directly to, the couple of streaming services they want to support, like in this case Peacock, if they have all my NASCAR content. It's dollars and cents. Everyone's going to crunch the numbers for themselves, but I think it's smart for NASCAR and NBC to at least dip their toe into the streaming world here in a few years. Just see how it goes, see if there's a clear avenue there, learn from it, hear people's complaints, hear what people like about it, and take all of that into consideration. Now again, this is all at least 3 years down the line. This is at the earliest would be implemented likely in 2025. I do not believe Fox or NBC can move NASCAR onto a streaming service under their current TV contract, unless maybe NASCAR restructured it with them for some reason, but I don't think NASCAR is going to do that, so it's still years away, but something to kind of think about now, because I think there's a very good shot we do see NASCAR races on streaming services 3 years from now, 4 years from now, whatever year it is, 2025. Just don't put the whole skip, don't put the Daytona 500 on Peacock exclusively. Don't do that. We're not there yet. Not quite. All right, now it is time for another rousing edition of Show and Tell Tuesday. Let's see what y'all sent. I want to begin with this letter because I recognize the name on it. It's from George, and I believe, yes, this is the same George that sent last week this epic, custom-made, out of the groove, groovy gang 124 scale diecast. This thing is amazing. It sits on my desk. I look at it every single morning. Absolutely gorgeous work, George. But George actually goes into more detail, talks about how he made it. He said this was an old Daniel Suarez car that he was able to add these decals to and make it look like Matt Kenseth's final ride car from 2017 a little bit. This looks incredible. Again, awesome work, George, and thank you again for sending. This thing is really, really cool. Now, next up here, we have a package from Joseph in Colorado. Now, this next one is from Joseph in Colorado, 12 years old. Thanks for watching, Joseph. I really appreciate the note, and he also sent this pretty awesome Ryan Blaney NASCAR Authentics diecast. Love the neon Menards colors. Got whatever sponsor this, Moen. I don't know who they are, but looks really great. Thanks for sharing, Joseph. This big box is from CJ in Florida. Oh my, what am I looking at? Let me read the note first. My grandmother gave this to me a long time ago, and I think it'll have a better home with you than it will with me. Take care of it and enjoy. Oh gosh, yeah, oh gosh. CJ's grandmother, you are crazy. Let's see what's inside. Oh my. Hold on, I gotta get rid of this so you guys can get a view. What? Oh, it's like gunmetal, silver, metallic, chrome, Matt Kenseth, 2003 championship car. Can I take it out of this like felt box? Yeah, oh, it's so heavy duty. CJ, you madman. This is nuts. I'm afraid of getting my fingerprints and stuff all over. I'm sure I can wipe them off later. Look at that, the 17. The dark silvery metallic. This will match, I got when I was in Nashville, I believe. At one of the little vendor tents outside the track, they had an all gold Matt Kenseth car. I just thought it looked cool. It was like 10 bucks, so I bought that. This will go nicely alongside of it. I haven't seen this before. Man, this looks super duper sharp. Just when I thought I'd seen every Matt Kenseth diecast known to man, every 2003 championship diecast for that matter, I've been hit with a new one. This one completely blindsided me. CJ, this is incredible. Thank you for sharing. I love the Winston Cup Championship logo there on the hood with DeWalt. Very special indeed. Thank you so much for sharing, CJ. This box comes from Jacob in Indiana. Oh, we got like a drawing on top. Check it out. We've got a 17 card doodle. We got some Out of the Groove sponsors like Swan and Wenzel's Farm on the quarter pail. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. And he actually asked on the back of this, if I'm going to be at Indianapolis. I will be at Indianapolis, so I hope to see you there, Jacob. Thank you for the drawing. Oh, and speaking of gold Matt Kenseth cars, here we go. He sent an old school gold Matt Kenseth Lycos machine. Check that out. Can you see it good? I hope it's focusing. Jammed a lot of cool stuff in a small box. Oh, it's a Jeff Gordon bobblehead. Wow, can we get it out of the box? From the Brickyard 400. Oh. His head's come off. I think it reattaches. Oh my goodness. That is kind of disturbing right there. Let's see, the spring's still attached. It must have just popped off, you know, the bumpy ride in the mail truck. There we go. That looks pretty good. Whoa, this looks amazing. This looks hand painted almost. Take a look at the helmet. Can you guys see the detail? This looks like someone's art project. This looks incredible. From 2014, Jeff Gordon Exalta bobblehead. This is amazing. Wow. Is this one of the ones that they gave out to a bunch of fans? Like first 10,000 fans get a bobblehead like a baseball game? Because I know like Texas, I have a Kurt Busch bobblehead from, I don't know, 2015, 2016 maybe. And that's what they did there. They gave it away to the first like 5 or 10,000 fans. So did Indianapolis do the same thing? Because if so, that's really, really cool. Jeff Gordon, winner of the first ever NASCAR Brickyard 400. Check it out. I'm glad the head reattached. Thanks for sharing that stuff, Jacob. This box came from Georgia, but I don't see like a specific name attached. Ooh, a Tyler Reddick 2020 Realtree diecast. You know, I think, look at the box that has some Realtree stickers on it. I think this came from Realtree, like the actual company. Thank you guys. One of my favorite paint schemes for sure. Oh yes, check it. Oh, and it's signed. Whoa. I assume that's Tyler Reddick's signature. Kind of just looks like a lot of silver Sharpie scribbles right there, but this looks incredible. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but the day glow orange on the 8 and, you know, on kind of the design there on the side really pops. I think, did he race this car at Texas? I've seen Realtree cars, maybe it was on Austin Dillon race at Texas before, and, you know, under the lights at Texas especially, the orange colors and stuff really pop. I love the camo look on this one as well. A Tyler Reddick rookie car. That's incredible. Well, whoever I have to thank, if it's Realtree, thanks. This will look awesome on my shelf. I looked it up. This car was run at Talladega last season, so that's really, really awesome. This next one comes from, he goes by Simon Diecast on eBay. Says these are from his eBay store, so go check them out. Simon Diecast. I imagine we're gonna get some diecast in here. Oh, never mind. We're gonna get some trading cards. Carl Edwards, Danica Patrick, Rusty Wallace. Look at that. Whoa, these are some cool cars. We got Matt Kenseth, Old Car of Tomorrow, 2008 or 2009. I believe, but look at this from the inaugural, there's a Brickyard theme here today. From the inaugural Brickyard 400, was this like the souvenir diecast? It's got 1994. It says inaugural race on it. I hope you guys can focus and see that. It's got the beautiful purple tones and colors. That's really, really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Again, that's Simon Diecast, that's his eBay store. This is pretty neat. Reed from Texas, thank you so much for the kind note, sent, this is awesome, a Bobby Labonte Interstate Batteries diecast. Kind of packaging back then was kind of interesting, but There you go. I love that green. 1996. Yeah, that has to be right. Got the Chevy Monte Carlo look. Yeah, that sounds right. Lee, when I said last call for the P.O. Box, you guys took advantage of it. This one's from Rusty in Tennessee. It says, I was inspired by the fact that the Red Bull Ring in Austria looks a bit like the country of Croatia, and I wondered what country or state would make a good track layout, and I chose a small map of Kentucky at Kentucky Speedway. This is an interesting idea. So he designed a road course to look like the shape, the outline of a state. In this case, kind of like the state of Kentucky. And he says you can scan this QR code. Hopefully it focuses and you're able to do that through the computer. He says that'll link to a Dropbox file with all the Photoshop documents if anyone wants to work on their own interesting outline of a track. That could be pretty cool. Yeah, be sure if you do that, tweet it at me, tag me in it, post on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll take a look. This is a really cool idea. Well, thank you for sending this, Rusty. I don't know, what would a Texas-shaped track? Texas is an oddly shaped state. I don't know, that would be a little hectic. Just do like Colorado, just a square basically, or a rectangle, super simple. There is so much mail to get through this week. I might have pushed some of this to next week, but don't worry, I will get to it all. From Eric in Michigan. Has Eric sent this? I feel like Eric sent us something before. Whoa, Eric sent some old school Truck Series diecast. Check this out. I love these old 50th anniversary. All this, these old retro packaging. I really like the looks of all these. There are a ton in here. Oh, Bob Keselowski. Check that out. Bob Keselowski and, a Chad Little. This one's not a truck, but Chad Little, the John Deere paint scheme. This is a classic, immediately catches the eye, immediately iconic. Lance Norick. All right, there we go. A yellow truck. Anything else? Think that is everything. My goodness, a blast from the past. I love that Chad Little. Where'd the Chad Little car. Wow, that is a great looking paint scheme. One of my all-time favorites for sure. That just makes me want to get on a tractor. We have a few more envelopes right here, one last box. We'll get through these last few. This is gonna be a long one. Appreciate you guys sticking it out here. We have an envelope from Amar in Texas, and he also sent this little box that has, this is so cool. Speaking of old souvenir die-casts, from 2005, the Dickies 500. I recognize this car, Amar. I used to have one. This was the first race I ever attended, the 2005 Fall Texas race. I used to have this car. I had no idea where it went. I probably lost it. It's probably in my old bedroom somewhere still. But this looks incredible. I definitely don't have the box. The box looks really cool. It sounds like Amar went to high school just a couple neighborhoods over from me, so that's pretty cool. Also, just like you, my first NASCAR race ever was the 2005 fall race at Texas Motor Speedway. That's amazing. Wow, we are very much in sync, Amar. Thank you so much for this very kind letter as well. Really, really appreciate it. I really enjoy reading about your NASCAR fan story as well. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. He says there's a Bollywood movie from 2007 called Tararam Pum. He says the title doesn't mean anything, but it's about an Indian guy living in New York who becomes a NASCAR driver, and says it was kind of a more serious version of Talladega Nights. It makes sense. Talladega Nights came out, I guess, in 2006. Tararam Pum. I'm gonna have to check that out. If anyone watching has seen this Bollywood movie from 2007, because I kind of want to check this out now. I'm seriously curious about it. Package here from Nathan in Pennsylvania. Hi, Eric. If you're reading this, I hope it's on Out of the Groove. Check. Hi, big Martin Truex Jr. fan. Love to see it. And he also sent a couple of the micro 1/87th scale diecasts, including Martin Truex Jr.'s auto owners cars. I always love these paint schemes, as well as the old school candy cane looking Interstate Battery Kyle Busch. I love these little micro diecast cars. That's what I call them. I don't know what they're officially called, but these look really, really cool. Thanks for sharing, Nathan. Got an envelope here from Dylan in Indiana. What is going on here? Oh, whoa, we got a logo sketch. Check it out. He sketched the Out of the Groove. Oh gosh, can I see? Yeah, there we go. He sketched the Out of the Groove logo. That looks really cool. Oh, is that my YouTube logo? Oh, yes. Check out his channel, Fusion Racing. Shout out Fusion Racing. Thanks for sharing, Dylan. 10 years old, doing stop motions over there. So check out Fusion Racing. I'll have to check it out. And I think for sure this is the last one of the day. We've got a big box from, well, I can't find a name, but it's from Texas. Hopefully there's a name inside the box. Oh, first thing I see, we've got a big 2003 IROC diecast. Oh my gosh. Ooh, it's wrapped up in a little bag, little cloth. Let's pull this up. Oh, it's Kevin Harvick. Look at that gold, sort of a gold copper color. Kevin Harvick, IROC Pontiac. This is amazing. These IROC cars look wild. Very shiny. I love the color. Kevin Harvick. Name on the side. This looks incredible. And there's another diecast in here as well. Darrell Wallace Jr., Bubba Wallace. Whoa, what the heck? Hold the phone, let me get this out of the box. What is this? Oh my goodness. It's a test car from 2018 with the cursed number on the quarter panel, the old click and close logo on the door, and a Bubba Wallace signature on the hood. Holy moly, unknown person from Texas. Gotta find a name. There's gotta be a name on this box. Oh my goodness, this thing looks incredible. The matte black finish. It looks so smooth, so sexy. This is like a stealth car. This is the Batmobile of NASCAR Cup Series cars. This looks amazing. I don't love the number on the quarter panel, but for kind of a special, testing car like this one, I'll let it slide. This looks incredible. Wow. Oh man, check out on the C-post, you got the old Bubba Wallace logo there before he switched to like the Rock On kind of hand logo. But this looks amazing, and the box just keeps on going. Some Hot Wheels cars as well. Oh, we've got a Jeff Burton. 99 is a Sitco colors right here. And oh, of course, some early Roush Fenway, or I guess Roush at the time. Some good old Roush schemes right here, Roush cars. I don't have any old Sitco Jeff Burtons from 2001, according to the packaging. That looks amazing. These things just look fast, low, sleek, quick, aerodynamic. The old Gen 4 cars look great. This is awesome. Oh, thank goodness, there's a note at the bottom. Oh, it's Scrapyard. Scrapyard sent some other crazy die-casts a few months ago. Scrapyard, you madman. Thank you so much for sharing, my friend. Very, very generous, very, very cool. I've got some other packages still in the corner, but we're gonna get to those next week because this video has gone on long enough. I really do appreciate the support, you guys. Thank you also so much for sharing things on this week's edition of Show and Tell Tuesday. I really, truly appreciate it. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback. A lot of y'all have really enjoyed the Show and Tell Tuesdays, the mailbag stuff, the P.O. Box stuff. I'm really glad to hear it. It's been fun seeing all the surprises you guys show on the show. So one of these days we'll bring the P.O. Box back, but I feel like it's run its limited time, well, the last few months. We'll bring it back again someday in the future, but for now, I greatly appreciate the support. That is gonna do it for this episode. I also could not do this without the tremendous support from those of you on Patreon who support the show, support the channel, support my travels to and from the racetrack every single month. I greatly appreciate it. I have a lot of trips planned here for the closing months of the NASCAR season, so I really appreciate the support. I'll be at Indianapolis in a few weeks. I'll be at Daytona, Darlington, and maybe a couple other races at the very end of the season as well. So stay tuned for more information. I hope to see you all out at the racetrack very, very soon. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and thank you for watching.